All of a sudden, I could see the hidden attributes of everything around me. Floating over my best friend's rich kid boyfriend's head was a line of text. Married man, $400,000 in debt. And over my supposedly broke boyfriend's head. Second generation heir, net worth $150 million. Something was wrong with me. I thought I might be hallucinating. I shook my head and rubbed my eyes. The words that had been floating in the air a moment ago suddenly vanished. But when I squinted, they reappeared. I walked over to a succulent plant on the entryway cabinet. My boyfriend Alex had bought it a month ago. I squinted. Sure enough, a line of text floated above the plant, written in a standard font. A plastic plant containing a secret stash of $20. My head swimming with questions, I picked up the succulent and examined it closely. I carefully pulled the plant out and realized it was indeed plastic. The thin layer of grass on the soil was also fake. Beneath it, there was nothing but a white plastic pot, where a small pile of cash lay quietly. There were some 5s, 10s, and 20s, a colorful but sad-looking little bundle. Alex was hiding money from me, and he'd only managed to save $20 in a month? I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Alex was my boyfriend, and aside from being poor, he was practically perfect. We'd been together for 3 years and moved in together after meeting each other's parents. He came from a typical small-town family. His mom was a kind, honest homemaker, and his dad had been a teacher at the local elementary school for decades. After we moved in together, Alex handed over his entire paycheck to me. It wasn't much, and we lived frugally, trying to save up for a down payment on a house. Wait. The point wasn't why Alex was hiding money. The point was why I could see that line of text. After pacing around the apartment for a while, I finally confirmed that I seemed to have gained a superpower. As long as I squinted, I could see the hidden attributes of any object in front of me. I pinched the bills in my hand and silently put them back where I found them. Once Alex saves up $100, I'll raid the whole stash. Hey, yeah, okay. I'm heading out now. After getting a call from my best friend, Vicky, I remembered that her mysterious new boyfriend was treating us to dinner tonight. I shot a text to Alex, who was working late, telling him to hurry over, then grabbed my bag and left. Vicky had been dating this guy for over a month. She said he was a rich heir, generous and romantic, and she had fallen for him hard. Ever since she got together with this guy, Kyle, she hadn't stopped trying to convince me to break up with Alex. Leah, don't be a fool. How much does Alex even make in a month? Even if you combine your salaries and don't eat or drink, a 1,000 square foot place in the city costs over $1 million. Do the math. Can you ever save that much in this lifetime? A woman's best years are fleeting. You should find a local guy with money while you're still young and pretty. You can't get married and have kids in a tiny rental, can you? Don't be fooled by Alex's good looks. When he gets older, he'll just be another wrinkly old man. And he works so much overtime, he'll probably be bald before he's 30. I shook my head, pulling myself out of the memory. Vicky wasn't entirely wrong, but Alex and I were college sweethearts. We were each other's first love, and had been through the best and worst of times together. We couldn't just break up like that. Leah, over here. Vicky waved at me, and I smiled as I walked toward her. But the guy next to her stood up, walked over, and politely pulled out a chair for me. This must be Vicky's boyfriend. Vicky shot me a smug look, then playfully chided Kyle. Oh, honestly, you're scaring Leah. Don't bring all that high society etiquette here. Leah's dad just runs a produce stand. She's never seen anything like this. The moment he heard my dad sold vegetables, the sparkle in Kyle's eyes instantly dimmed. He leaned back in his chair and gave me a polite but dismissive smile. I took a sip of water and studied Kyle. He was dressed in fashionable clothes, with a meticulously styled haircut and a handsome, fair-skinned face. No wonder Vicky was so smitten. He was definitely easy on the eyes. Leah, sorry I'm late. Just then, Alex rushed in, slightly out of breath. He affectionately ruffled my hair and pulled a boba tea out of a bag, handing it to me. Here, your favorite, jasmine green milk tea with pearls. Alex's arrival made Kyle's handsome face seem dull in comparison. He sat down beside me, reached his arm under the table to quietly take my hand, and only then did he get a chance to greet Vicky and her boyfriend. Leah mentioned you're always on a diet and don't drink anything else, so I only got the one, Alex said to Vicky with an apologetic smile. Vicky stared at Alex, momentarily dazed. Kyle frowned, cleared his throat, and called the waiter over to order. Looking at the menu in my hands, I gasped. A single beef dish was $40? Even a simple vegetable dish was over $8. This place was way too expensive. Seeing my shocked expression, Vicky covered her mouth and giggled. Relax, Leah. Kyle's treating tonight, so order whatever you want. Alex also thought it was pricey. He frowned at the menu for a long time before ordering the cheapest vegetable dish. Kyle smirked triumphantly, raised his arm to take the menu, and revealed a flashy diamond watch on his wrist. I squinted at it. A knockoff from a street vendor, worth $40. Seeing me staring at the watch, Vicky's face beamed with pride. Nice, right? It's a Patek Philippe. Only worth about $300,000. Kyle is super low-key. He knew he was meeting you guys tonight, so he wore his cheapest watch. He was afraid of scaring you off, you know? I looked up at Vicky, at a total loss for words. Was her boyfriend really a rich heir? I couldn't help but squint and take a closer look at Kyle. Just then, a line of text appeared above his head. A married man, $400,000 in debt. Holy crap. My superpower not only worked on objects but on people too? I fought to hide my shock and squinted at Vicky. A line of text appeared over her head as well. A foolish woman, 20 days pregnant and $70,000 in debt. Just then Alex noticed my strange behavior. He gently patted the back of my hand under the table, trying to remind me not to be rude and stare. I was still in a state of profound shock. When Alex touched me, I reflexively turned to look at him. An heir with assets of $150 million. Holy crap. I was so stunned I leaned back too far and fell right out of my chair onto the floor. Leah, what's wrong? Alex knelt and helped me up, his face full of concern. I stared at his handsome features and for the first time, this face I adored felt a little unfamiliar. In the span of a single minute, I had received an overwhelming amount of information. So much that I didn't know how to react. Leah, are you okay? Alex's long, fair fingers waved in front of my face. He even reached out to feel my forehead. The moment his warm palm touched my skin, I snapped out of it. Haha, I'm fine. I was just shocked by the $300,000. A watch that costs $300,000. Vicky giggled and waved her hand dismissively. Oh Leah, you're killing me. If a single watch scares you this much, you should stick with me from now on. We'll have Kyle take you out and show you the world. I nodded along as Kyle's smugness practically spilled off his face. I secretly gritted my teeth and squeezed Alex's hand, wishing I could snap his bones. To show off his wealth, Kyle ordered a table full of expensive dishes. I ate distractedly, barely tasting the food. Alex noticed something was wrong and insisted on walking with me to the restroom. In the quiet, empty hallway, Alex frowned and cupped my face. Leah, what is going on? What happened? To save money, the two of us always went to the supermarket after 8 p.m. to buy discounted groceries. Sometimes we'd even wait for the fish to die, since the store would sell them at half price. In all these years, we'd hardly ever eaten fresh fish. For 3 whole years, we had scrimped and saved every penny, just so we could have a place of our own sooner. And it turns out Alex has assets of $150 million? What was he doing? Playing some kind of rich kid experiences poverty game? I stared at Alex, my gaze ice cold, my voice devoid of any emotion. Alex, what are you hiding from me? A flicker of panic crossed Alex's handsome face. He scratched his head awkwardly, a blush creeping up his cheeks. You know? I nodded. Oh yes, Alex. You've been hiding this from me for a long time. Alex took my hand, looking a little shy. Leah, I can explain. I thought about the past 3 years, how I'd given up buying new clothes and makeup to save money, wearing the same winter coat all season. What was going through Alex's mind as he watched me pinch every penny? My heart felt like dead ashes. I gave a bitter laugh and pulled my hand away. Alex, let's break up. Alex's eyes widened, his face a mask of disbelief. Break up? You want to break up with me just because I hid $20? But I was saving it to surprise you. Your birthday is coming up, and I was going to buy you a nice lipstick. Is this about $20? Are you still pretending? This is about $150 million. Alex sighed and looked at me aggrieved. Okay. So if I can hide $20 today, I can hide $150 million tomorrow. Leah, your logical leaps are getting more and more dramatic. Something wasn't right. I looked at Alex's doting expression. The love he had for me was written all over his face. It couldn't be fake. I thought about all the little things over the past 3 years. He'd always pick the meat out of his bowl for me. In the winter, he'd warm my cold feet in his lap. When we ate watermelon, he always carved out the sweetest centerpiece for me. I was absolutely certain Alex loved me, more than he loved himself. Alex pulled me into his arms, rubbing his chin against the top of my head. Okay, let's talk about this when we get home, all right? Your friend is still waiting for us. I suddenly felt a little ashamed. Alex had poured his heart out for me for 3 years. I really shouldn't have doubted him. Was it possible that his parents were hiding it from him? My mind a mess, I took Alex's hand and walked back to the table. Vicky was leaning against Kyle, laughing coquettishly. She only sat up when she saw us coming and waved me over. Leah, Kyle said he and a few friends are going to a spa resort up in the mountains for a couple of days next week. You should come with me. I glanced worriedly at her stomach. Is it safe to go in a hot spring during early pregnancy? And seeing how head over heels Vicky was, how could I tell her the truth about Kyle? Would she even believe me if I did? And then there was Alex's inexplicable $150 million net worth. Every single thing was giving me a massive headache. My hesitation seemed to displease Vicky. She pouted. Leah, you're not worried you'll be embarrassed because you don't have nice clothes for a high-end place, are you? Don't worry, I'll lend you something. I looked at her, exasperated. There she went again. Vicky was a good person at heart, but she loved to put me down in front of others. Still, if I was ever in trouble, she'd be the first one to step up and help. That was why we'd been friends for so many years. By the time dinner was over, Kyle's boasts had filled the entire restaurant. The look of adoration in Vicky's eyes grew more and more intense. I rubbed my forehead, feeling my headache get even worse. When we got home, I pushed Alex down onto the sofa and made him recount his entire family history, going back generations. By the time I'd even learned the nickname of his great-uncle's granddaughter, I felt even more confused. Alex's dad was a beloved and respected old teacher in their town who had stayed at his humble post for decades, often using his own salary to help students from poor families. During the holidays, their house was always bustling with waves of former students coming to pay their respects and bring gifts. It was quite a sight in their small town. I cupped my chin and studied Alex from top to bottom. Alex, do you think it's possible you were adopted? And next month, some billionaire is going to show up crying, wanting to reclaim you as his long-lost son. Alex didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Leah, what kind of soap opera have you been watching lately? I look just like my dad. Do you really think I could be adopted? I lowered my head, disappointed. It was true, everyone in Alex's family looked alike. I'd seen a photo of Alex's grandfather as a young man, and he and Alex looked like they were cast from the same mold. So where did things go wrong? Could my superpower be fake? Alex scooped me up in his arms and headed toward the bedroom. Leah, you've been acting really strange today. I think you should get some rest. The next day was Saturday. Alex and I alternated weekends visiting our parents, and this weekend was his family's turn. Oh, Leah's here. Your uncle went to the market and bought these grapes just for you. He said they're called something like sunshine roses. They're so sweet. Quick, have some. Alex's mom took my hand, the wrinkles at the corners of her eyes smoothing out as she smiled. The old coffee table was piled high with all sorts of fruits and snacks, all my favorites. Leah's here? A student gave me some excellent tea. I'll make a pot for you to try. Alex's dad came in through the back door and, after wiping his hands, went to find the tea for me. Watching Alex's parents bustle around, I felt like I was basking in the winter sun, warm from the inside out. They were such wonderful people, yet I had suspected them of being billionaires pretending to be poor. I was being ridiculous. It seemed my superpower only worked on objects, not people. Did that mean Vicky wasn't pregnant either? I breathed a sigh of relief. It's better if it's fake. I hoped Kyle really was a rich heir, and that Vicky could find happiness. After he was done, Alex's dad sat down next to him and smiled fondly. Today is your grandmother's birthday. I just tidied up her room and found a lot of your old toys. Why don't you take Leah to have a look? Alex's grandmother had passed away many years ago. I heard her family was once quite prominent. She fell ill and died while Alex was in college. After she passed, His parents sealed up the small house she lived in and rarely went inside. Alex's face filled with nostalgia. His grandmother wasn't like the other elderly people in the countryside. She was educated and had a special grace about her. She used to tell him all sorts of stories and classic fables when he was little. His best childhood memories were mostly thanks to her. The family home was a small compound with 2 courtyards. A path from the back led to another yard, where a quaint little house stood on the north side. This was where Alex's grandmother had lived. The small, perennially locked door was now open. Fine dust particles floated in the air, clearly visible in the sunlight. Alex nostalgically touched a yellowed table as I squinted in the bright sun. Just then, a line of text appeared on the table. A golden thread Nanmu table, valued at $850,000. Ahem, cough cough. I choked on my own saliva, letting out a series of earth-shattering coughs. Alex patted my back anxiously. Leah, I'll go get you a glass of water. He hurried off toward the kitchen. I suppressed my shock and squinted, scanning every inch of the spacious, old room. A golden thread Nanmu chest, valued at $140,000, with 20 pounds of gold hidden in a false bottom. A painting, valued at $8.5 million. A bed, valued at $420,000, with $14 million worth of jewelry hidden in a secret compartment underneath. Was this an old house? No, this was a treasure trove. I stumbled back a few steps, turned to look at the other furniture, and then tripped over my own feet, landing on the floor with a thud. An ordinary wooden floor, with 1,000 pounds of gold buried underneath. Alex returned with a glass of warm water, and was shocked to see me sitting on the ground. Leah, what happened? Are you getting heat stroke? Alex, pinch me. So Alex wasn't a second-generation heir, he was a third-generation one. This one room of his grandmother's was worth over $100 million. $100 million. I felt like I was dreaming. It was such a beautiful dream that I never wanted to wake up. You've been acting weird since yesterday. Leah, what's wrong? Don't scare me. I took the glass from Alex's hand, drank it all in one gulp, and then scrambled to my feet. I walked over to the Nanmu chest and opened it. The chest was filled with toys, bamboo dragonflies, rattle drums, and a small wooden sword. I pushed all the toys aside and sure enough, I saw 2 hidden buttons on either side of the chest's bottom. I carefully pressed the buttons. The entire bottom of the chest loosened, and I was able to lift out a thin wooden panel. Alex watched, dumbfounded. This chest has a false bottom? I never knew that after all these years. How did you? His voice trailed off. He clutched his chest, and we both stared blankly at the bottom of the chest. There, lying quietly, were 2 rows of gold bars. I swallowed hard and decided to spin a tale for Alex. I had a dream about your grandmother. She said she left you a house full of treasures that you didn't know about. She was so worried that she came to me in my dream and told me, Leah, time to eat. Your aunt has everything ready. Alex's dad walked in cheerfully, then stopped in his tracks, his eyes dazzled by the sight of the gold bars. The usually lively dinner table was dead silent. Alex's dad was quiet for a long time before downing his glass of wine in one go. Before my mother passed, she said everything in that room was for Alex and his future wife. Now that you have money, Alex, you and Leah should get your marriage license soon, buy a house and move all this stuff over. It'll be safer. Alex's mom grabbed my hand, her face flushed with excitement. Yes, that's right. Alex, you and Leah should get on that right away. After dinner, Alex and I left the house in a daze. Leah slapped me. Am I dreaming? On the way home, Alex kept having these little fits, either asking me to slap him or pinch him. Alex had a close friend who worked at an auction house and knew many antique collectors. To avoid any trouble, Alex quickly sold off a batch of the jewelry. One of the collectors happened to be a real estate developer. When he found out we were looking for a marital home, he offered us a generous discount. He told us to pick out a property, and the cost would be deducted from the value of the antiques. That evening, I was watching TV when my phone vibrated. Seeing the long string of zeros in my bank account balance, I started jumping up and down with excitement. Alex came home holding a massive bouquet of flowers. He got down on one knee, took out a beautiful jewelry box, and opened it for me. Inside was his grandmother's imperial green jade bracelet, valued at $8.5 million. Alex's eyes were red, and he was so choked up he could barely speak. Leah, I wanted to give you a grand proposal, but I couldn't wait another day. We've come so far from college until now. During our hardest times, we ate instant noodles together in that tiny apartment, sharing a single hot dog. I will never forget the hardships you went through with me. Now I can finally give you a home. It doesn't matter if I have $10 or $150 million, that will never change. All the money in our family will always be yours, and I'll always be yours too. I knelt and hugged Alex, sobbing uncontrollably. This was the proposal I had always dreamed of. No luxurious venue, no expensive jewelry, just the two of us. Simple was perfect. The happiest thing wasn't that Alex had gone from a poor kid to a multimillionaire. It was that his love for me had never, ever changed. The next day, Alex and I woke up early, put on our best clothes, and went out to look at houses. Walking down the street, I couldn't help but laugh at Alex. You're still wearing that outfit I bought you for your birthday senior year of college? I had to save a month's worth of lunch money for it. It looks so old now. Alex tugged on my sleeve, pretending to be disgusted. And you've been wearing that dress for at least 3 years, haven't you? So much had happened lately that, even with all the money, we had completely forgotten to buy ourselves some decent clothes. When we arrived at the luxurious sales office, I felt like the name of the development sounded familiar. Leah, what are you doing here? Vicky, dressed in a well-tailored uniform, looked at me with a delighted expression. I slapped my forehead. My brain. No wonder the name of the development sounded so familiar. Vicky had always worked in real estate sales. After she met Kyle, he had her transferred to the Celestial, the most expensive development in the entire city. I looked at Vicky sheepishly, feeling like a terrible friend. I had been so preoccupied with Alex's family matters these past few days that I had completely forgotten about her situation. Vicky took my hand, her expression a mix of pride and smugness. Are you here to hang out with me? You've never been to a place like this, have you? Let me give you a grand tour. Since we were going to buy a place anyway, I might as well help a friend hit her sales target. I winked at Alex. He quietly took out his phone and sent a message to the company's owner, telling him not to arrange any special reception, as he had a friend working there. Vicky, do you have any large, single-floor units around 2,500 square feet? Alex and I had discussed it last night, and decided that a unit between 2,500 and 3,000 square feet would be best. We could have his parents come live with us in the future, and there would be room for a nanny and kids. It wouldn't be too empty or too crowded, perfect for a family of 4 or 5. Vicky covered her mouth and laughed for a moment. Wow, Leah, you've got good taste. Our best-selling units are the 2,800 square foot ones. But they're incredibly expensive. You and Alex probably couldn't afford a toilet in one even if you worked your whole lives. Come on, I'll show you what you're missing. The sales office was empty today, with hardly any customers. Eager to show off in front of me, Vicky took us to see several different layouts. Vicky, is there a model unit for this 2,800 square foot one? Vicky winked at me. Just you wait. I happen to be free today. Your big sis is about to show you what a real luxury home looks like. Alex and I stood before the towering floor-to-ceiling windows, gazing at the magnificent, sprawling river view. Alex wrapped his arm around my shoulders, his eyes full of tenderness. Leah, do you like it? I nodded excitedly. Who wouldn't like this? If you like it, we'll buy it. Oh, Leah, your Alex is hilarious. You think this is a lollipop you can just buy whenever you want? This place costs over $1,500 per square foot. One unit is over $4 million. Vicky bent over, laughing uncontrollably. I winked at her. Vicky, I forgot to tell you. Alex won the Powerball. He won $5.5 million. Vicky laughed even harder, wiping tears from her eyes. When we finished touring the model unit and returned to the sales lobby, Vicky was still giggling to herself every few moments. Alex stepped aside to make a phone call. A moment later, a middle-aged woman with impeccable makeup walked over quickly. Vicky immediately straightened her clothes, her expression turning serious. Good morning, Ms. Davis. You must be Mr. Alex? Mr. Roberts has taken care of everything. Vicky, what are you standing there for? Go get the purchase agreement. Vicky stared blankly at Ms. Davis. It was as if she understood the words but couldn't process them. Look at Vicky. She must be happy to the point of being stunned. Your friend is here to give you a huge sale. What are you waiting for? Ms. Davis gave Vicky a playful nudge, her eyes filled with a warning. Vicky snapped out of her daze and ran to get the contract. Whose name should be on the deed? Ms. Davis respectfully handed over a pen. Alex ruffled my hair. Put it in my Leah's name. Just my name. I looked at Alex in astonishment. This was over $4 million. Weren't you worried I'd change now that I have money? We'll put everything in your name. Now you can finally relax, right? Ms. Davis looked at me with envy. Vicky, on the other hand, had bitten her lip so hard she hadn't even realized it was bleeding. I calmly took the pen from Ms. Davis. I'd already accepted an $8.5 million bracelet. What was a $4.2 million apartment on top of that? It would all go to our kids one day anyway. After signing the contract, Ms. Davis repeatedly insisted that Vicky escort us out. Vicky just stared at me, still in a daze, not even noticing when Ms. Davis left. I waved my hand in front of her face. What are you spacing out for? Aren't you happy I'm helping you hit your sales target? Vicky came back to her senses and forced a smile. Well, Leah, for such a huge celebration, you have to treat me to dinner. You know, Kyle kept saying he wanted to buy a place here for us. I was worried it would be too far to visit you, but I can't believe you guys bought one first. We can be neighbors again. The mention of Kyle instantly soured my good mood from buying the apartment. Kyle wasn't just a liar, he was a married liar. How was I supposed to tell Vicky? I couldn't just come out and say it. She probably wouldn't believe me. But I couldn't just stand by and watch my friend get scammed. Thinking about the baby in her belly, I rubbed my temples. This was a really tough situation. Seeing my troubled expression, Alex immediately grew concerned. Leah, are you not feeling well? I waved my hand dismissively. Vicky, let's invite Kyle tonight. Thanks for treating us last time. It's our turn to treat you both. I rubbed my eyes. The text above Vicky's head seemed different from last time. Ha. A foolish woman 30 days pregnant and $110,000 in debt. I hadn't seen her for a few days, and her debt had increased by $40,000? Wasn't it $70,000 before? I hesitated, wanting to say something, but just then a colleague called out to Vicky. She waved at me and walked away with her coworker. Alex saw my worried expression, placed a finger on my brow, and gently smoothed out my frown. What's wrong? You've been acting so strange lately. You're definitely hiding something from me. I nodded. I just have a bad feeling about that Kyle guy. I'm a little worried about Vicky. That evening, we went back to the same expensive restaurant. Before looking at the menu felt like staring at astronomical figures. Now thinking about my bank balance, I felt a surge of confidence. My Alex is treating tonight. Thank you for your hospitality last time. Please order whatever you like. Don't be polite. Kyle was still meticulously groomed, looking slick and preened. I squinted. Sure enough, the text above his head had changed again in just a few days. A married man, $700,000 in debt, and now the father of two. Holy crap. What did that mean? His wife had a baby a few days ago. What kind of scumbag was this? I suppressed the rage boiling in my chest and watched Vicky flirt with Kyle. Look, Alex already bought a place. When are we going to buy ours? Kyle playfully tapped Vicky's nose. Didn't I say we'd wait a few days? I've been swamped with work lately. I scraped my fork loudly against my plate. Vicky, have you met Kyle's parents yet? How are they? Do they like you? Vicky sat up straight, a flicker of discomfort on her face. Oh, it's still early. I'm a more reserved person, you know. I'm not going to rush over to his family's house. I was speechless. Why was Vicky so clueless? I was trying to give her a hint, but she thought I was mocking her. Kyle put a piece of food on Vicky's plate, smoothly changing the subject. Seeing him sidestep the topic so easily, I took a deep breath and forced another smile. Vicky, when you're in a serious relationship, it's a good idea to meet the family early on, especially if you're thinking about marriage. It doesn't hurt to know more about them. Vicky was not happy. Her face hardened, and she put down her chopsticks. Kyle's family is wealthy and influential. His parents are important people. They're very serious about meeting a future daughter-in-law. It's not like Alex's family, where you can just show up with a bag of fruit from the village. Leah, you just don't understand how these high society families work. Hearing this, Kyle happily wrapped his arm around Vicky and gave her a kiss. Vicky, my pig-headed friend, was making my liver hurt with frustration. Alex also sensed the tense atmosphere and secretly squeezed my hand under the table. I took a sip of water, determined to try one last time to hint at the truth. Just then, a group of people burst through the restaurant doors. The woman in the lead grabbed Vicky by the hair and slapped her twice across the face. "You shameless homewrecker." We were all stunned by the sudden turn of events. No one reacted until the stout, middle-aged woman slapped Vicky 2 more times. I finally rushed forward and pushed her away. "Who are you? Why are you hitting people?" The woman stumbled from my push and then lunged at me, cursing. "A friend of a mistress must be a mistress too. I'll kill all you damn homewreckers." Since it was a high-end restaurant, the staff quickly rushed over and pulled the crazed woman away. Alex shielded me with one arm and pulled out his phone to call the police with the other. Even while being restrained by the staff, the stout woman spat in Vicky's direction. "Pa, you shameless hussy. How dare you seduce my son-in-law?" A terrible suspicion crept into my mind. Vicky clutched her face, glaring at the woman with a mixture of anger and confusion. "Are you crazy? Who are you?" The woman spat at Kyle and started screaming. "Kyle, how could you do this to my daughter? She was hemorrhaging during childbirth, and you were nowhere to be found. She risked her life to give your family a son, and you're already cheating on her before she's even out of postpartum confinement." Vicky's face turned deathly pale. She looked at Kyle in disbelief. "You're married? You're actually married?" Kyle grabbed Vicky's hand, his expression awkward. "Vicky, listen to me, I can explain. That woman and I have no feelings for each other. We've been separated for a long time. I asked for a divorce last year." Vicky wrenched her hand away and stumbled back, twisting her ankle and falling to the ground. I rushed over to help her up. Her face was contorted in pain as she clutched her abdomen. A moment later, bright red blood started trickling down her pale legs. "Alex, call an ambulance. Hurry." I held Vicky's hand, my mind completely blank. The ambulance arrived quickly. Alex waited with me outside the operating room. Kyle and his mother-in-law had been taken to the police station for causing such a scene at the restaurant. Alex took off his jacket, draped it over my shoulders, and pulled me into his arms, gently patting my back. "You must be terrified. Vicky is still young, and the ambulance got here fast. She should be okay." I wrapped my arms around Alex's waist, feeling a deep sense of guilt. If only I had warned Vicky sooner. If I had told her earlier, maybe this tragedy wouldn't have happened. After a short wait, a nurse pushed Vicky out on a gurney. "The baby is fine. The patient is in excellent health. Although she fell and there was some bleeding, both mother and child are okay." Seeing my worried expression, the nurse tried to reassure me. I quickly bent down and took Vicky's hand. "Vicky, are you okay?" Smack. A crisp slap landed on my face. Vicky had moved so fast I didn't even see it coming. Alex rushed over, pulled me up, and frantically checked my face. The slap didn't actually hurt that much. Vicky had just come out of a procedure and didn't have much strength, even with all her effort. But I was completely bewildered. Alex's chest heaved with anger as he glared at Vicky. "What the hell is wrong with you?" Vicky craned her neck and screamed hysterically. "Are you satisfied now, Leah? Your boyfriend is rich, and mine is a lying, cheating scumbag. Do you feel like you've finally won? In your dreams. I will always be one step ahead of you. You'll never be better than me." The nurse gave us an awkward look and quickly pushed Vicky away. Vicky, refusing to give up, leaned over the side of the gurney and shrieked at me. "Why? Leah, what do I have that's less than you? Why do you get everything?" I stared after her, still trying to process what had just happened. Alex gently touched my face. "Does it hurt?" I looked up at him, confused, unable to understand how things had turned out this way. Why had the relationship between Vicky and Kyle not been the one to shatter, but the one between Vicky and me? A little while later, Alex got a call from the police station asking us to come in and give a statement. Kyle's mother-in-law was a true warrior. The circle of police officers around her did nothing to diminish her fighting spirit. She was rolling on the ground, spitting at anyone who came near. It didn't hurt, but it was disgusting, and for a moment, no one dared to approach her. Just then she rolled over, sat up, and started slapping her thighs. When she saw me, her eyes lit up. "Make her pay. She's that slut's friend. so she should be the one to pay. An officer explained that after we left, Kyle's mother-in-law had continued her tirade, breaking a lot of things in the restaurant. The manager had tallied up the damages, which came to $40. Kyle stood awkwardly to the side, his face bright red, looking like he wanted to step in but didn't dare. The officer next to me sternly reprimanded the mother-in-law before turning to us with an apologetic smile and leading us to another room to give our statements. It turned out Kyle had been married for years. His girlfriend got pregnant right after college, and her parents, including the mother-in-law, had cornered his family and forced the marriage. His family had no choice but to accept it. Kyle's family was indeed well off. His mother was a bank employee, and his father owned a restaurant. They had houses, cars, and an annual income of over $100,000, making them an upper-class family in their small city. Unfortunately, Kyle was a boastful and vain man who spent money like water. After paying off a mountain of his debts, his parents finally had enough. They took back the property in his name and forced him to move back home with his wife and child to keep an eye on him. But Kyle continued his extravagant lifestyle. His father announced that the family would no longer be responsible for any debts Kyle incurred. They would rather let him go to jail. So, unable to borrow money locally, Kyle came to the city to try his luck. You had to admit, Kyle had a certain skill. He posed as a rich heir and, with his handsome looks and smooth talking, managed to deceive many women. Vicky was just one of his many victims. He promised them marriage, painting beautiful dreams of a life of luxury, and then claimed he needed money for his business ventures. These poor women, like moths to a flame, threw themselves one after another into the elaborate web Kyle had woven. Kyle didn't just scam women, he also frequently scammed his own family. His father was strict with him, but his mother was soft-hearted. He would often sneak back home when his father was away to get money from his mom and wife. Last month, Kyle's wife gave birth to their second child, a son. His mother-in-law was overjoyed, thinking her daughter's position was finally secure. But Kyle remained a deadbeat, never showing his face. She was a traditional woman from the countryside. And in her mind, a man who was never home must have another woman. Though Kyle was a terrible person, his family's wealth made him a golden goose in her eyes. She certainly wasn't going to let such a good son-in-law slip away. So Kyle's mother-in-law hired someone to follow him, and the trail led straight to Vicky. Thinking of Vicky lying in the hospital, still pregnant, I sighed. What a mess. Alex pulled my collar up higher and gave me a stern look. I've never liked Vicky, but she's your friend, so I didn't want to say too much. But she just hit you, and it's obvious she resents you. You need to seriously reconsider your friendship with her. I hung my head and nodded. I had always thought that even though Vicky had a sharp tongue, she still considered me a friend deep down. My family was also from a small town and wasn't well off. Vicky's parents ran a small business and were much better off than mine. In college, she would often give me makeup she didn't use. I thought it was a gesture of friendship, but I now realized Vicky was just using me to feel superior. That must be why she had such a breakdown when she found out Alex was suddenly rich. Alex took my hand, tucked it into his jacket pocket, and turned to me with a raised eyebrow. All right, stop thinking about all this unhappy stuff. Let's go get some late-night food. We'll go to that seafood stall you're always watching videos of online. Abalone, coral trout, lobster, we'll eat our fill of everything. I nodded and followed Alex. No matter what, our lives were getting better and better. The house we bought was fully furnished. Alex and I bought appliances as quickly as we could and moved in. We also found time to go to his parents' house and move all the priceless treasures from his grandmother's room, except for the gold buried under the floorboards. On our first day in the new house, Alex was cooking in the kitchen. I was about to go help him when the doorbell rang. I opened the door to find Vicky standing outside, her face full of remorse. Leah, I was wrong. Last time, I was just so heartbroken and shocked that I lost my head. That's why I treated you like that. Can you forgive me? As soon as Vicky finished speaking, tears rolled down her cheeks. I glanced down at her belly. It was winter now, yet she was dressed so thinly in a form-fitting dress and a beige trench coat. She looked freezing. Vicky placed a hand on her stomach and gave a sad smile. I already got an abortion, and I broke up with Kyle. Leah, he scammed me out of $110,000. I sighed and opened the door wider. Come in. If you haven't eaten, you can have some with us. Leah, your favorite beef stew. Look at this color. Alex, wearing an apron and carrying a ceramic bowl, walked out of the kitchen. The moment he saw Vicky, the smile on his face vanished, replaced by a thunderous scowl. Ahem, Alex, Vicky is here to apologize to me. Last time, she was just under a lot of stress and made a mistake in the heat of the moment. Vicky nodded vigorously, looking at Alex with a mournful expression. Tears clung to her long eyelashes, making her look quite pitiful and moving. Alex shot me a glare, silently placed the dish on the table, then turned and went back to the kitchen to bring out the other dishes. I gave a sheepish laugh. Vicky, have a seat. I'll go get some bowls and chopsticks from the kitchen. I scurried into the kitchen. Alex was clearly angry, clattering the bowls and spoons loudly. I walked up behind him and wrapped my arms around him, rubbing my face against his broad back. I'm sorry. She came all the way here to apologize, and I just felt bad. Besides, we've been friends for so many years. Alex snorted. Friends? You consider her a friend, but she might not feel the same. Who knows what she's planning, showing up here like this? He turned, cupped my face, and looked at me very seriously. I don't interfere with your friendships, but Vicky is bad news. I don't want you hanging out with her. She'll bring you trouble sooner or later. Alex rarely used such a harsh tone with me. I could see he was resolute, so I nodded reluctantly. Okay, I'll ask her to leave after dinner. I'll make it clear to her. Vicky held her bowl, but didn't eat a single bite of rice. Instead, she stared at the food on the table as tears streamed down her face. Leah, you're really living the good life now. The money I gave Kyle, I had to max out my credit cards and take out online loans to get it. Luckily, I got a commission last month from your apartment purchase, or I wouldn't even have money for food. Vicky cried as she spoke, not giving me a chance to get a word in. That bastard Kyle got arrested for fraud, but he's refusing to pay the money back. I went to his hometown to find him, but his wife threw me out. She said Kyle's debts have nothing to do with her. I still owe tens of thousands on those online loans. I just don't know what to do, boo-hoo. I squinted. A line of text appeared on Vicky's forehead. A woman, $40,000 in debt, determined to seduce her friend's husband to pay it off. Huh? Seduce her friend's husband? To pay off her debt? Which friend? It couldn't be me, could it? Seeing me silent for a long time, Vicky turned her gaze to Alex. Leah, I'm so jealous you found a great boyfriend like Alex. He's handsome and capable. Being his girlfriend is luckier than winning the lottery. Not like me, I'm so unlucky with men. I sighed. Alex was right. Vicky had shown up with an agenda. Looking at the spread of food, I lost my appetite. I sighed again. I'm going to go slice some fruit. You guys take your time. I came out with a plate of sliced oranges to see Vicky on the floor, while Alex stood to the side, his face as dark as ink. What happened? Alex didn't say a word. He grabbed Vicky's arm and started dragging her toward the door. Vicky, I'm warning you, don't let me see you again. If you dare contact Leah again, you can expect to be fired from your job. With that, Alex shoved Vicky out the door. Then he took out his phone and called building security to have her removed. Vicky's face flushed with anger as she stared at me hatefully. She scrambled to her feet and glared at me. Fine, I'll leave. Leah, have you forgotten how you used to follow me around like a puppy in college when you had no money? I can't believe this is how you act now. I see you for who you really are. She tossed her head, stomped her foot, and walked away with her chin held high. It wasn't hard to guess what happened. Vicky had probably tried to make a move on Alex and pissed him off. Alex was a bit of a neat freak and hated being touched by people he didn't know well, especially since Vicky was wearing such heavy perfume. I shrank back guiltily. I was in for it now. Alex was furious. Look up. Seeing Alex's clenched jaw, I turned and ran. I'm sorry. I didn't mean for it to happen. Alex caught me and pulled me into his arms. Outside, the water shimmered under the sun. We stood there, holding each other in front of the massive floor-to-ceiling window. Leah, this life feels so happy, it's like a dream. Let's not let all these messy people disturb us anymore. Let's just live our own lives, okay? I wrapped my arms around Alex's waist and nodded happily. End of story. Epilogue 1. Vicky had been having a rough time lately. Deceived by Kyle, she had been consumed by the dream of marrying into a wealthy family. To please him, She had taken out high-interest online loans and emptied her savings. When Kyle's schemes were exposed, she cried and threw tantrums, even going to his family for help. But Kyle's parents made it clear they wouldn't take responsibility for their son's debts. And Kyle himself had nothing to his name, but a mountain of IOUs. She had no choice but to shoulder the $110,000 debt herself. Luckily, because Leah had bought an apartment from her company, the commission was credited to her, which instantly reduced her debt by $40. Then, she shamelessly asked her parents for another $10,000 or so, which was enough to pay off the loans with the highest interest rates. She could pay off the rest by working hard and living frugally for a few years, but Vicky was resentful. Leah was the one from the countryside. Vicky was better than Leah in every way. Yet in the end, it was Leah who had married up and become a princess. That's right. The only reason Leah had this life was because of Alex. Thinking of Alex's handsome face and tall, strong build, Vicky's heart fluttered. If she could just win over Alex, then everything Leah had would be hers. The more Vicky thought about it, the more excited she became. She dressed up and went to Leah's house, but the moment she got close to Alex, he threw her out. There's no man on earth who doesn't cheat. Vicky refused to believe it. She thought Alex was just putting on an act. So she started accidentally running into him downstairs in the apartment complex. At first, Alex was ice cold to her, but after a few times, he actually smiled at her. Vicky clutched her racing heart. Alex was so handsome when he smiled. Just when she thought she was on the verge of success, a lightning bolt struck. She was fired. The general manager looked at her with disgust. We've received multiple complaints from a resident. He said you have been harassing him repeatedly in the complex. He ignored you at first, but you showed no remorse. The company will not tolerate this kind of behavior. Vicky was dumbfounded. She never expected Alex to be so ruthless, quietly sabotaging her job without a word. She tried to find Leah again but could no longer get past the security gate. Because of the harassment complaint, her reputation in the industry was ruined, and she couldn't find another good job. Vicky looked at the countless missed calls on her phone, all from debt collectors for the online loans. She squatted helplessly on the street, feeling regret for the first time. Epilogue 2. A ceramic bowl from Jingdejun worth $4. I raised an eyebrow, looking at the bowl in my hands. The stall owner was still chattering away. Miss, this is from the Song Dynasty. If you really like it, I'll let it go for $4,000. $40 and you throw in that pen holder. The owner rolled his eyes and looked at me as if in great pain. This is from the Song Dynasty. You have to add another 30. And just like that, I snagged another bargain. A pen holder from the Ming Dynasty. Alex saw the cat that ate the canary look on my face and snorted. All right, fess up. When did you become an antique appraisal expert? I thought for a moment, then pulled him to a quiet corner and told him my secret. Alex stared at me in amazement. Are you serious? I nodded earnestly. How else would I have known your grandmother's room was full of treasure? You didn't really think she came to me in a dream, did you? Alex narrowed his eyes, took out his phone, and started booking plane tickets. What are you doing? Are you taking your personal treasure detector on a trip? Ha ha ha. Finally realizing you need to butter me up? Alex rolled his eyes. A trip? What trip? We're going to Myanmar. To gamble on stones. End.